Well, WWE released a handful of talent yesterday and today, and there were some very baffling decisions there. Blair Davenport was only on the main roster for 9 months and only had about 6 matches. The Authors of Pain were brought back in 2023 and didn't do much of anything either. Isla Dawn also didn't do much of anything either and had only won the tag team championships with Alba Fire for no other reason than being Scottish. Giovanni Vinci had his own gimmick until Triple H snatched it away from him so he could occupy space inside Imperium. But the one I don't understand all that much is Sonya Deville. On the surface, you can argue that she's had a long tenure. She had been with the company since 2015. She probably was making a lot of money with each new contract she signed, much like Cedric Alexander. The problem was that she had potential, but it was never fully reached. Of course, you couldn't blame WWE for that when a filthy intruder left her with a traumatizing experience. But since then, WWE never seemed interested in recapturing that same spirit before that happened. Because when she was feuding with Mandy Rose, I actually got to see what she could really do in terms of branching on her own with her own act. She could have been a very believable villain for the product. I understand that layoffs have to be made now and again, but I could think of a bunch of wrestlers to let go of before letting go of Sonya. Natalya and Tamina's best days are far behind them. They're not going to be in marquee positions ever again. Shayna Baszler is unappealing and in her mid-40s, and Triple H hasn't given much of anything for her to do either. But the saddest part of all is that Triple H isn't interested in replacing Sonya with somebody fresher or better. He wants spot monkey wrestlers with less charisma, less personality, and little to no marketability outside of the very small Puritan wrestling bubble. We've seen this with many female wrestlers he has signed to NXT. Jade Cargill, Gilia, Stephanie Baker, Zaria, and now Jordynne Grace, having done very little to each of them to groom them for television. It's been 5 months since we've seen Julia and Stephanie Baker in NXT. And so far, they've spent 99% of their time wrestling pointless matches and 1% time actually trying to bolster their brand. And this is exactly why we no longer have territories today. You don't sign talent for being good at wrestling, you sign talent based on their marketing potential. Long ago, Vince knew he wasn't going to make money with just straight-up indie talent. He had to vet talents and take advantage of ones that knew how to talk, show personality, and fit into certain molds so that they can be enjoyed by broader fan bases. The Undertaker was one of those guys. He was a generic wrestler until Vince had an idea for him. Triple H has no ideas for any of these wrestlers aside from wrestling 15 minutes pay-per-view style matches. This clip of Sonya Deville cutting Mandy Rose's hair when they were in the middle of a hot angle together garnered over 6 million views. This is what was great about WWE. They created their own buzz out of their own talent. They did not buy buzz or have partnerships with smaller companies in order to generate buzz. These Wonder Women that Triple H is in love with haven't even come close to getting 6 million views. If you browse any of their matches from Japan or TNA, they don't have more than 80,000 or 100,000 views. If that's what Triple H counts as marketable, he needs to appoint a new chief content officer. And then he signed Tamira Mensah-Stock, who won an Olympic gold medal in wrestling, and treats her like a nobody by changing her name. Kurt Angle was apparently livid when he found out about that. And let's not forget Casey Catanzaro, who has had much more fame outside of WWE than any of these international wrestlers. I'm not saying that any of these shiny new toys don't have any value or potential. From what I've seen from the past year, there's nothing to look forward to with them until the traditional WWE machine returns. It should be no secret by now that the Paul Levesque era is a failure, both at making new stars as well as attracting audiences. He's firing good talent, replacing it with spot monkeys, and he's creating more problems in the form of even more useless championships. WWE is a business, so you need a businessman to actually run it. The fun and games should be over. It's time to finally get to work.